Indeed it is. But I was reminded of that famous patriot, maybe it was Nelson Rockefeller, who once said, I've been rich and I've been poor, and believe me, rich is best. Well, let me tell you, I finished second, and tonight I finished first, and I like first a lot better.
Arizona Congressman Mo Udall on the night of the 1976 Wisconsin Democratic primary. Turns out Mo's joy was short-lived. Late returns gave Jimmy Carter the win in Wisconsin by 1%, about 7,500 votes. But partisan differences aside, you just got a glimpse of why Udall would one day write a book entitled "Too Funny to Be President." Actually, Mo was even funnier when he lost a leadership race in the House Democrat caucus. He was running for the chairmanship, and after he lost, he said the following, quote, "I'd like to thank the 115 members who said they would vote for me and the 53 who actually did." Then, Mo had a question for the press. "Do you know the difference between a cactus and a caucus?" Now, since this is a family program, I'll let you search out Mo Udall's answer for yourself. Speaking of family, it figured in the first explanation of House leadership races that I ever heard. As a congressman-elect, I was invited to a regional meeting of all the new Western members. It was billed as a pre-orientation gathering held in Salt Lake City, hosted by Representative Jim Hansen, but it was organized by Tom DeLay of Texas, who was running for whip. And while there were some helpful hints about how to set up your office, the real discussion centered around that race for whip. And that was when the mild-mannered Jim Hansen gave us the soft sell on behalf of the man nicknamed the Hammer. Congressman Hansen pointed out that another candidate for whip, Florida's Bill McCollum, had been elected to the House the same year Hansen had, and while Bill was a good friend, he thought Tom was the best choice for whip. Then, Jim made the statement that stuck with me through all these years. He said selecting a candidate in a leadership race is like trying to pick a favorite uncle. How on earth do you do it? Because members of the House run every 2 years, they are acutely sensitive about every election, and especially about party leadership elections. That's why Mo Udall's wisecrack about the discrepancy between pledged votes and actual votes is so funny and so true, regardless of party label. Full disclosure, I ran for the chairmanship of the House Republican Conference back in 2002 and finished second. I'd crisscrossed the country for fellow members, burned up phone lines, courting members for their votes, and I worked so hard that I lost my voice, as well as that leadership election. What did I learn? Simply this. When some members said they were behind me, they were way behind me. So far behind me that they voted for another candidate. Remembering Hansen's explanation of choosing a favorite uncle, instead it felt more to me as if I was on the wrong side of a family feud. Which brings us back to the current leadership fight among House Republicans. Who would be the best choice for Speaker? Well, my former colleagues might want to take a good look at Lamar Smith of Texas. He is a guy who is very tough on the border, former chairman of the Judiciary Committee, current chairman of the Science Committee. Now, this is not rocket science, it's political science. And for now, I would have to say Lamar Smith is my favorite uncle, and he would make a fantastic speaker. And that's the way I see it. Now, the way you see it. First up, a comment from Blake about our own Scotty Nell Hughes, who's on this program. He writes, Scotty is correct. The biggest fear they have is 8 years of Trump and his version of a fundamental transfer of wealth and a cap on welfare. I want to hear what her Second Amendment platform is and see how much her influence can get other women motivated. She, this would be Scotty Nell, has leader written all over her. And lastly, we hear from Christine, who writes in about Donald Trump. She writes, I'm a Trump supporter who wishes him the best. In order to do what's best for the country, he needs to choose someone who is ex-military for vice president. Interesting suggestion, Christine. As always, we love getting your comments. Send them to me at newsmaxtv.com/comments. My final comment, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.